Today there is a lot of good news from the east. Here, Ukrainian forces doubled down on their use of artillery and assault drones to target Russian forces' concentrations. A commander of one of the Ukrainian detachments reported that there are still plenty of Russian troops in Klishchivka, which is why Ukrainians are not conducting ground attacks in this particular region. As you can see from the geolocated footage, Ukrainian shells are exploding between the lake and the small forest, which is the center of Klishchivka. Notably, Ukrainians are not targeting the trenches on the hills, which confirms that Ukrainians did not lose control over the main fortification and successfully repelled all Russian counterattacks. Apart from targeting forces' concentrations, Ukrainian commanders discovered another huge opportunity. As the Russian command became obsessed with the goal of returning control over the fortification, they allocated troops for achieving this task at the expense of other parts of the front line, more specifically, at the expense of their positions between Klishchivka and Kurdyamivka. As you can see, Ukrainians established physical control over the northern tree line and established fire control over the tree lines along the canal, which means that the Russian defense here relied only on their positions in these two tree lines. Ukrainians exploited the weakness of the Russian defense here and conducted a pincer movement by attacking Russians from two sides. The storming operations were conducted by the fighters from the famous 3rd Assault Brigade. They caught Russians by surprise, rapidly advanced to the enemy positons on armored fighting vehicles, and within seconds after landing, started storming Russian fortifications. One by one, Ukrainians revealed, assaulted, and cleared all Russian positions in the tree line. After they were done, Russian forces shelled the whole region, attempting to inflict unsustainable losses and force Ukrainians to retreat. However, the Ukrainians retained control over the newly gained territories. Right now, Ukrainians are preparing to advance along these two tree lines, one of which leads directly to the small village of Andrivka. Even though Andrivka is very small, it is still an extremely important Russian logistical hub. Given that Russian forces no longer can safely use the road from Bakhmut to supply Klishchivka, the road from Andrivka became more important than ever. If Russians lose Andrivka, then they would have to deliver supplies through the fields, and if we look at the topographic map, we can see that these fields are located in the lowlands and are visible from all Ukrainian positions on the hills. Based on the setting, it is clear that Russian forces will not be able to sustain their operations and will either starve or step back. Overall, the ability of Ukrainian commanders to react to the ever-changing conditions on the ground and make new plans as they go allowed Ukrainians to save a lot of troops by canceling an immediate attack on Klishchivka and allowed to conduct an expected operation from another direction, penetrating Russian defenses by up to 2 kilometers.